Noble County has one of the highest concentrations of manufacturing in the country. Melanie Kellogg tells us how it is trying to diversify and prop up the economy on the Midwest Flourish. Greetings, I'm Rick Farrant, and I'm your host for the Midwest Flourish. And our guest today is Melanie Kellogg, who is the Executive Director of the Noble County Economic Development Corporation, otherwise known as B Noble. Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you.
So let's dive into something really serious right off the bat. Noble County is relatively unique in that it has a really, really high concentration of manufacturing employment. And I know that its ranking nationally has vacillated over the years, but the latest thing that I could find was that it ranks fourth in the country among all counties for manufacturing employment, which, to coin a word, is very noble, but it also comes with a disadvantage, some might say, and that is that it presents a lack of economic and industry diversity. So what is Noble County doing, if anything, to try and address this lack of diversity?
So we pride ourselves on being ranked fourth in the nation for manufacturing concentration. It kind of makes us, like you said, more noble. Um, and we are trying to build our economy past the historic manufacturing agricultural roads. Um, so we really work with our stakeholders for growing our entrepreneurial ecosystems. We just opened up last year our historic Main Street in Kendallville, um, 231 Main. I always get those numbers mixed up, which is the Noble County's first co-working space. It's already full. They expanded and the offices grew even more. And then we really focus on growing our next generation talent. So our iSmart Labs within the Community Learning Center, um, our partnerships with Impact Institute and Freedom Academy to really grow our manufacturing database and our talent, and then really focusing on childcare growth and housing growth so that we're able to attract more businesses and companies into the area.
Right. And we'll come back and we'll discuss some of those things that you mentioned. But I'm a little confused though, as how does this so if I'm on the outside and I'm looking at Noble County as a county to come into, I'm going to see that it's very heavy in manufacturing. So what's going to compel me to come to Noble County with a different kind of occupation or a different industry or different employment sector?
I think what's so great about Noble County is where we're located. So if you want that robust metro urban life, we're 30 minutes from Fort Wayne. But I like to say that Noble County is one of those open air communities. So we are able to attract multiple organizations and people because we have such a high quality of life. Our tourism has significantly increased, which also opens up a different range of people coming in. And so we're just doing everything in our power to attract those new industries and showing them how we're able to grow. We've also worked with the regional partnership to do a survey and figure out some data to see, what industries would go great in Noble County without competing with the other counties around us. For example, Noble County is not going to get a steel mill because we have one in DeKalb, we have one in Whitley. So it wouldn't necessarily make sense talent force wise to get one here in Noble County. We are focusing a lot on the medtech section, which kind of goes hand in hand because we are so close to Kosciuszko and we already have some pre-med tech companies within the area. So just really honing our focuses on that aspect and trying to figure out who's going to be the best fit while also making sure that they're going to allow Noble County to continue to grow.
Right. And for some who don't know that Kosciuszko County is considered the orthopedic capital of, well,
Yeah.
I guess of the world is what they like to say. So that's why you mentioned Kosciuszko County. Was what you did with the partnership, did you get like a final determination on that, or is that something that is in process right now?
We have a final determination on it, but I feel like that type of data is always changing. with the communities around us growing, with us growing. But I guess, yeah.
So if you're focusing on the med tech, are there any other industries that identified as a possible destination, as Noble County as a possible destination, or was med tech really far and above the one industry that you're looking at?
It was honestly, it was ranked one of the top. I mean, obviously, automotive would be high in our county, but that's not gonna diversify
Yeah.
very much.
So what have been some of the challenges in diversification?
It all kind of depends, like, so we're really working on broadband expansion.
Mhm.
Um, Thankfully, we are lucky that we have a local organization, LigTel, who is growing within Noble County, as well as other broadband industries. Transportation is one of them. We don't really have like a local bus system. Ubers aren't relatively known in our area, so that can kind of cause a few difficulties based off of like what cultures they're looking for. Um, but really, it's the housing shortage that we have. Um, with the recent housing study, we need a significant amount of homes to come into Noble County. Trying to find the land, the resources, the funding for that is relatively difficult. So we have to kind of focus on laying the groundwork first. So really getting our housing in order before we can work on
Yeah,
diversify.
one of the challenges I think with housing that I understand, particularly with Noble County, maybe I'm stepping on a sensitive subject here, is it's very hard to find land. It's not that Noble County doesn't have land. There's a lot of land in Noble County, but it's hard to find folks who are willing to give up some land, right? I mean, I'm just cutting to the chase here in order for it to be developed. Am I correct on that?
Yes, and yeah, so we're kind of landlocked as a community, and there's a lot of the NIMBY going on as well. And so we really have to focus on educating the members of Noble County, not members,
Citizens of Noble
yes,
County. Yeah, yeah.
on as to why it's beneficial,
Yeah.
how it's going to really focus on growing the schools. We get housing, more students are coming to the schools, how it's going to boost the economy, things of that nature. Um, so we have had some community resistance on growth, like with zoning, preservation's concerns, and obviously that can definitely slow the progress as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I know that you're saying educating. You're still doing that. I'm going to assume, though, it's been a rough road to trying to get folks to understand that if you don't grow somehow,
Mhm.
and this is probably hyperbole, but maybe not so much, you die.
Yeah. I mean, and every economy and every county needs growth. We've had site selectors say that if they're looking at a community and they're not seeing the new construction or cranes in the area, they're not interested in that particular space then.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. If you see cranes in the air, that means that something's good is happening,
Yes.
right? And people are attracted to that. You mentioned broadband, and I think that you recently, I guess within the last year or two, you recently were able to expand broadband access. Where are you at with that? How far do you need to go with the broadband access? And is your this is a whole bunch of questions at once.
Yeah.
Is your broadband access um, reaching the places where you think it is most likely for, say, remote workers to be attracted to?
Yeah. I think that um, our broadband is what makes Noble County so unique. Like I mentioned, Ligtel is amazing and it just is even better that they're local. They're right in Ligonier. And
And Lake Tell, explain Lake Tell.
Ligtel is a broadband internet service
Okay.
provider. It's technically Ligonier Technologies. Um, but they have been working with us and with other communities for getting funding through the BEAD program and things of that nature. Last year, they laid over 210 miles of fiber internet for Noble County. One of those was my house, which is amazing. And what's great is that it's relatively cheap so that, it opens it up for people who might not necessarily be able to afford one service provider. They have options for for everybody. Um, Most of Noble County is now covered. They have applied for more funding. Um, it hasn't been released yet if they've received it or not, but that will help cover basically part of the community that is north of Kendallville, which is kind of a dead zone, and then some more by Walcottville and Wawaka.
How are you doing around the lake communities? Are you good with broadband access there?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. Yeah. Because I would think that some people, when they think about moving, say, to the country or to a rural area, lots of people think about lake. And then if they want to be a remote worker, right, they want to have both the lake and the ability to actually conduct their work at the lake. So that's why I mentioned the lakes.
Yes, I actually live on the lake, and there was a while where we did not have reliable internet. I couldn't be on my computer working and my kiddos be on their phones streaming or playing Roadblocks. But with the upgrade of infrastructure, we're able to stream everything across the board. So working from home is no longer an issue.
Great. There was a time in Noble County, it may still be the case, that there was a lot of focus on small businesses, small business development. Um, where are you at with that? And is that still a focus? And if we're talking about small business development, what kind of businesses are we talking? It's a lot, I know, but what kind of businesses are we talking about?
So, yes, we are still heavily focusing on our small business growth within Noble County. I do believe that 80% of our businesses in Noble County are small.
All right. And define small.
So, the ISBDC defines a small business as 500 or less employees. And so we have quite a few of those. And then we have a lot of home businesses as well, which are you can have as many family members that live in your household, work in that business, but then only 5 outside employees.
Okay.
Um, but we really focus on supporting our small businesses like through local grant programs. So our chambers are amazing, and a villa chamber has a villa improvement grant, which goes towards small businesses. And then we work with them with manufacturing readiness grants. And what's great about Be Noble is we have little arms and facets. So we have what's called Shop Noble, and it is multifaceted. So if you are a small business and say you sell t-shirts or guitars, things of that nature, we have special gift cards that you can purchase on our website that allow you to only shop at the small businesses in Noble County. And so we support them that way. And then we also like to highlight them and use them for gift baskets, giveaways, things of that nature. As the EDC, we help provide that mentorship, kind of the bridge, the gap in the bridge. We're all about educating. So we have the key partners like the oh, now it's skipping my brain. The ISBDC,
Okay.
SCORE, Elevate Ventures, the Northeast Indiana Innovation Center, even more with that, just so that they have that person who is knowledgeable about whatever they're looking for.
I realize that there's a mix of companies and industries that can make an economy run and work. But would you say that in Noble County, small business, perhaps more than larger businesses, is really the future of the county, or do you still think that you have to have that mix? In other words, instead of bringing in a giant manufacturer or some other employers to really to have as healthy a small business community as you can, or communities.
I I believe that both entities are highly important. Our small businesses are allowing, they're really funding themselves, their household. It's allowing them to grow, and they invest heavily into the communities. Our larger employers will, that's where we're going to get our job training. Um, but our community definitely needs both equally support um, Noble County as a whole. For example, we have We've had some issues with our 4-H fairgrounds in Kendallville, and there is a company who is willing to write a check to cover any debt that they may have on that so that the city actually owns it. And so that wouldn't be possible without our large manufacturers, which happens to still be a local manufacturer.
Yeah. Let's pivot a little bit to some other topics about what's actually going on in Noble County. You've mentioned some things. You have I believe it's still up, a Noble County Leadership Academy.
Yes.
Yeah. What is that, and how does that factor? Obviously, it deals with leadership, but how does that factor into growing the workforce and the economy in Noble County?
Yeah, so our leadership academy is called Engage Noble, which is just one of the partnerships that we have within Be Noble. So we don't actually run it, but we help partner with it. So it is a program of Thrive. And this initiative is really designed to help showcase what all Noble County has to offer, from different leadership opportunities to unique venues that we have throughout the county, and helps show a value of the strong workforce that we have. The participants in this really, they have a chance to network with some of the key um, players within Noble County, which helps foster that sense of community commitment. Um, and so ultimately, our goal is to really retain those leaders so that they stay in Noble County, they help us grow, and they help us thrive.
Yeah, and are a lot of these people who are involved in it, are they sort of younger folks or older folks?
Yeah.
Which I can actually talk about this being in the older folks. So I know a lot of older folks are set in their ways, and a lot of communities talk about how they need some young blood who can help drive the future of a county or a city or whatever. So what's the makeup of this group? Or is it really leaning towards the younger side?
There are more younger folks in the class, but we definitely have the older ones as well who are willing to, you know, aren't set in their ways. They're willing to change, and their ultimate goal is, they've been in Noble County their whole life, but they might not know everything about it. So they're willing to learn and to grow, and then to kind of be that mentor then for the younger folks.
And I know that you're having I don't know if this is connected to either your, Thrive or Engage Noble. Um, this was not one of the questions that I thought about ahead of time, but I'm thinking about it now. You have some kind of entrepreneurial session that runs, are you familiar with that? That runs once a month, I guess that's at the Fox Den. Is that tied into this, or is that something entirely different?
So that is something completely different. So we work closely with the NIC to help grow the entrepreneurs. When I talked about being that bridge and the connector, that is one of the ways that we are able to help grow our small businesses. So the NIC goes, it's every Thursday at the Fox, every third Thursday at the Fox Den, where she sits out there and people can come in, ask questions. She's mingling with the whole community, which is nice, helps bring a presence up there for the NIC as well. And then also on top of that, the fourth Thursday, they are at the co-working space as well, hosting like social circles, things of that nature to really help grow our small businesses.
What kind of turnouts have you had for this? And by the way, the Fox Den, that's a relatively speaking, one of those new small businesses
Yeah, they've been around.
in downtown Albion, it's
Yeah.
which coffee shop. Yeah.
Yeah, they've opened in either 21 or 22.
Yeah.
So yeah, still relatively new. Best coffee ever. Great place to meet. Um,
There's the sales rep.
no, it really is. They have a great conference room in the back that keeps it quiet, which is where Angie actually sits. So that if you want those one-on-one, more quiet conversations, she's able to provide those with you. Um, Turnout kind of just depends on the day. So sometimes she doesn't really see anybody and she's out mingling,
And
and it's
who's this? You said Angie. Who's this?
Angie, she's from the NIC.
Okay.
So she's usually like, if nobody shows up, she's out there mingling in the front section, talking to everybody, gathering leads. Um, for the social circles that are happening at the co-working space, there's usually 8 to 10 different individuals there, depending on what the topic is.
What is your sense of entrepreneurialism in Noble County? Is it nascent? Is it growing? Is it, I mean, where is Noble County on actually having some entrepreneurial activities beyond just talking about it, but actually, being led to fruition? Where's Noble County on that?
We are definitely growing, which is exciting. We're actually getting ready to start a new workshop series. It's called the Belt Program, where it's a 10-week course. It costs $125 per participant, and you learn everything from, okay, this is what marketing is going to look like. Oh, this is how I need to interview somebody to come in for a job position. And then at the end, they get kind of some prizes. So it could be free use of the co-working space or different things of that nature. So we're really working on growing our small businesses step by step.
Step by step. I think this was through a trust, invested $100,000 in a daycare center it's a daycare operation in an early learning center, I guess, in Ligonier. And we've dealt with this on this podcast before about how childcare you mentioned it earlier, is an extraordinarily important component to workforce development, right? Because if you have affordable childcare, that frees people up to work. So that's relatively new, right? That operation is new. Do you envision that as the last step in Noble County to offering affordable childcare, or do you think there are going to be more projects like that one?
So yes, there are definitely going to be more projects like that. So yeah, we invested $100,000 for Noble County Early Learning Center through our investment trust fund. Um, and there are other aspects going on in Noble County that are working kind of the same way. So we're working on getting one in Central Noble school districts as well. But then we also invested $50,000 for home-based childcare providers as well, which with the voucher program being non-existent for families, home base is more likely going to be affordable. And so we really want to make sure that we're growing that aspect as well.
How does that work with the 50,000? Like let's say I assume may have multiple home care situations. 50,000 can disappear pretty quickly.
Yes.
So how is that going to work?
So we're hoping that it's going to be reoccurring. But since this is the first year where we only invested it the one time, but the way that it's going to work is we're working really closely with the Northeast Indiana Regional Child Care Coalition, and Jenna Anderson, who is amazing with all of this. And family or home care providers in Noble County only can um, fill out some paperwork, basically, but you have to show that, you're willing to follow all the rules, all the guidelines, that you're wanting to become licensed. And with that, they get, I think it's up to $5,000 for improvements in their home. So say the only thing that's stopping them is building a fence. We'll help them pay for that fence. Or if they need age-worthy toys, we'll help them gather that as well.
Does that pay for licensing too?
Yes, it will
It
help pay
does.
for their
Okay.
licensing.
It's helping both existing, but also people who want to get into that? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yeah, so we're hoping that it's just gonna continue to grow, and the best part is that they'll also have access to Brightwheel, which is basically a check-in, check-out system, so you can see, like, okay, this childcare center has 10 kids, and they have 2 adults working there, so they're following the guidelines. And then we'll have access to all of that information as well so that we can ensure that these childcare facilities are still following the rules.
Is that Ligonier operation, is that up and going at this point?
Yes.
Is it? And how many folks are taking advantage of that? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it just opened in May.
In May, okay. So relatively, yeah.
Yeah, relatively new.
And would you characterize it as affordable? That's the touchstone word, right, for childcare?
Yes, it is definitely affordable.
Is it sliding scale affordable? Do you know?
Yes, so they have a good focus on making sure that it is affordable, because when you look at childcare, people spend a significant amount of funding on it. Most people go to work just to pay for their kid to be in childcare. So they have a benchmark that they're not going to go over that 7%, so that they're able to keep that under control while also paying their workers a higher wage.
Yeah. Yeah, what have employers been doing? Because I know there's a lot of talk. There's a lot going on with childcare in the region, but what are employers? There was also talk about employers saying, okay, employers will give some kind of stipend on childcare, or somehow they will assist this, or maybe they'll even provide it. What's been your experience with employer support for affordable childcare in Noble County?
Yeah, so Noble County is unique where we were the originator of the TriShare program. So we received funding from the county commissioners. And so the way that the TriShare program works is the county pays a third, the family pays a third, and the businesses pay a third. Um, that has been going over so well that it's now a regional initiative for that. So um, our employers, they see the benefits of it. They know that if my employee has affordable childcare, then they're more likely to show up to work every single day.
Yeah. We got a few more minutes. I know this goes really quick. And so there are a couple things that I want to get in here. One is, um, I was going to talk about all the camps that you have, but we may not get to that. But one question is, you reported for 2024 that you had $107 million invested in the county.
Yes.
Okay. What does that include? And just from a comparative stance, is that like an improvement? Is that an incredible number for Noble County?
It is an incredible number. So our highest year was the year prior, where we had almost $150 million invested. Part of that is due to Star of the West's massive investment that they did in Ligonier. But this includes um, housing that is coming in, infrastructure updates, and then our companies growing. So we had companies like B&J Medical, a significant improvement, LA Camera, Allendale Treatment Center, and then our main streets have also grown as well.
So the investment of a company, would that be capital investment, or would that be taxes that a county actually gets from a company?
It's both.
It's both.
Yeah.
Okay. So last question.
Yes.
This is your magic wand.
Oh.
You've mentioned a lot of things here because there's obviously a lot that's going on in Noble County. And Noble County, I have to say, it's because I have knowledge of it. Noble County has a lot of firsts.
We do.
It's done a lot of firsts, and I've actually participated in one of those, as you know. But wave your magic wand at the 30,000-foot level. What would you like to see happen to the economy of Noble County?
Yes. So I would love to see the economy continuing to grow, but we have some needs that need to be addressed first. And anybody who has had a conversation with me down from, local level down to the governor knows that my key priority in Noble County is expanding potable water and sewer out to the old Deco complex. Seems simple, but it is not. So currently that site faces high levels of naturally occurring arsenic in their waters. So companies are needing to bring in Culligan water or other water sources for their employees. You walk into this organizations, all of them, and above their sinks, there are signs that say not suitable for human consumption. So it's not only dangerous that way, but it's also eating away at their machines. And so getting potable water and sewer out there is key. There are several businesses out there that are continuing to grow, but there's also a deadline of when they're not going to be able to grow anymore just due to the cost. So really working on getting that taken care of, and then just continuing to watch Noble County grow and thrive in all industries, all sectors.
Let me go back to that because I wasn't aware of that. That's one thing I wasn't aware of in Noble County was the potable water issue. Um, How's that going to happen?
So we are working with different sources of funding. So originally we were going to do a USDA grant, but with that grant, you weren't allowed to build housing on the infrastructure. So that would halt Noble County. So we're working on possibly getting a TIF district out there, a new market TIF district, um, funding from the county, the cities, regionally, the state, um, just to try and cover the cost of it because it is an unincorporated Noble County.
Melanie, I appreciate you being here with us. Maybe we'll have you come back and we'll kind of take a look at how the progress is on a couple of these. But thank you very much for joining us
Thanks for
today.
having me.
That's a wrap on today's episode of the Midwest Flourish podcast. Want to dig deeper or get involved? Head to marketingthemidwest.com to explore how we can work together to empower your community to flourish. Let's keep the Midwest momentum going and shape the future of our region together.